Thank you, thank you. Flutter is everywhere, every day.
And it's built by everyone, for everyone. Thank you so much to all of the Flutter community members and showcase partners for helping us with putting together that incredible video.
Hi, all. Welcome to What's New in Flutter. I'm Kate, Engineering Manager on the Flutter Framework team.
And I'm Khanh, a Developer Relations Engineer on the Dart and Flutter team at Google. We're also joined today by Cheng from Google DeepMind. To everyone in attendance here today and joining us online, thank you so much for tuning in.
That theme, everywhere, every day, built by everyone, for everyone, is exactly what we're here to talk about today. Flutter, and of course Dart, which powers Flutter, similarly aim to provide the most productive development experience, building the highest quality, full-stack, dynamic user experiences for any platform.
And today, we are so excited to announce the release of Flutter 3.44 and Dart 3.12. Now, Google I/O is always one of the most exciting times of the year. It's a great time to talk about all the things that landed in this last year, and it's also a great time to share previews of all the cool things that we're working towards in the future. Now, of course, it's also a great time to talk about all of the new things that are landing with this latest release. We also have two very special showcases to share with you all today from Google DeepMind and Toyota. We've got a packed slate today, so Kate, let's get started.
All right, let's talk about the state of Flutter. Our community of contributors has never been stronger than ever, this year having reached 1,700 contributors to the Flutter project. Yes, yes. In the last year alone, over 5,800 changes have landed just in the Flutter repository, which is a lot to review, so I hope you're all comfortable.
And the pub.dev ecosystem is more popular than ever, with over 1.3 billion package downloads in the last 30 days alone. Now, for context, I had originally asked my teammate to get the number of pub packages downloaded in the last 12 months, but that number was quite big, so I just had to settle for the last 30 days instead. And in both the App Store and Google Play Store, Flutter is currently the second most popular SDK for mobile app development.
It has been incredible to see this community grow over the years. And as of just a few weeks ago, there are now 1.5 million developers building with Flutter every month. I know, it's fantastic, right? Now, I will leave you with Khanh here to start our deep dive. So Khanh, take it away.
All right, thank you, Kate. All right, let's kick things off with Dart, the language that developers love and happens to power Flutter. We're committed to making Dart accessible and performant everywhere, and ensuring that it remains a joy for every developer to write and read. In last year's keynote, we teased a few features like Dot shorthands, which enables you to omit redundant class or enum names, and Dart build hooks, which enable you to compile native code or download native assets and bundle them directly within your Dart package. For many FFI-based packages, this eliminates the need to maintain platform-specific build files like CocoaPods, CMake, or Gradle. Well, both features have landed, and it seems that y'all are pretty excited about that based on feedback, so let's keep the ball rolling. In this latest Dart 3.12 release, we're making it easier to initialize and declare private instance fields using named constructor parameters. It means that Dart now automatically writes an explicit initializer list in the constructor for you. We're also adding experimental support for primary constructors, so instance variables can now be declared directly in the class header. Woo! Now, for a while now, one of the top user requests for the Firebase team has been support for Dart in Cloud Functions. Because, well, we all know developers love full-stack Dart, right? Am I right about that? Cool. Well, get excited because Dart in Cloud Functions for Firebase is officially here. You can now write HTTP and callable functions in pure Dart. Dart uses AOT compilation, so we're seeing cold start times as low as 10 milliseconds when using Dart with Cloud Functions. In addition to that, the Dart Admin SDK now gives you access to Firebase services from privileged environments on the server. OK, let's talk about developer experience. Dart and Flutter has always been known for an unparalleled developer experience, and our mission has been to make sure that it keeps getting better. Well, last year, we delivered on faster Dart CLI commands by moving to AOT snapshots of the analysis server. Now, Dart format feels almost instantaneous, and Dart Analyze is about 50% faster. We've also added support for custom analyzer plugins, which means that you can now extend upon the analysis server's existing capabilities to report custom diagnostics and offer quick fixes that are unique to your team's workflows. We've also added the pub cache GC command, which identifies and prunes unused packages from your pub cache, reclaiming your valuable disk space automatically. So, hot reload is fantastic for faster app iteration. But sometimes you want to preview standalone widgets in isolation, separate from your full app. Widget previews let you do just that. You test widgets against a matrix of screen sizes, themes, and text scales in a sandbox environment. And as of this release, it now comes with full support for the Flutter inspector. OK, so we've done a bunch of work to improve upon our existing developer experience foundation. Within the last year, however, we've seen an explosion of new tools that change the way that developers are building Dart and Flutter apps. Claude Code, Anti-Gravity, Gemini CLI, these agent-based tools are evolving our roles as developers. We're increasingly architecting, delegating, and coordinating with agents to help us build. Well, that's why we've introduced new tooling to make your agent-assisted developer workflows even more productive. The Dart and Flutter MCP server launched last summer, giving agents deeper insight into your Dart code, Flutter project, and provides it with the tools it needs to take action on your behalf. Well, we're excited to announce a new feature that we're calling Agentic Hot Reload. Hot Reload will now just work automatically with every coding agent everywhere. So when you prompt your agent to make a change, it'll be able to make that change and then automatically connect to your running app and reload it to show you your UI updates in real time. Whereas the MCP server gives your agent access to tools, Skills gives your agent step-by-step guidance on how to complete a variety of tasks, like how to build a responsive layout or how to add a widget preview. That's why we're also launching a collection of Dart and Flutter agent skills. These skills will help you to ground your agentic development in Dart and Flutter best practices and improve upon the overall code quality. Plus, skills use progressive disclosure, so that means your agents will only have to reference them when needed, saving you some of those precious tokens. Now, AI-driven features are becoming more prominent in everyday user experiences, from simple content summaries to fully agentic personal AI assistants that can retrieve information and take action on users' behalf. We've been focused on expanding the Dart and Flutter ecosystem so that you have all the tools that you need to build these AI-driven experiences for your users on every platform. I've personally been using MacroFactor to log my meals and macros. It's great for me because I don't want to do all of those macro calculations. Instead, all I have to do is take a photo of my plate, and the app logs it for me. The MacroFactor app is a Flutter app that uses Firebase AI logic to make API calls directly to a Gemini model, leveraging its multimodal vision capabilities to simplify the user journey for logging meals. Firebase AI logic now has server prompt templates, so that means that you no longer have to embed your prompts directly within the app. And as of today, you can provide your agents with step-by-step guidance on building full-stack Flutter and Firebase apps with the all-new Firebase agent skills for Flutter. We're also excited to announce the preview launch of GenKit Dart, an open-source framework for building full-stack AI-powered and agentic apps. It has a model-agnostic API that supports a variety of providers like Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI. It includes everything that you need to go from prototype to production, including type-safe structured output, tool calling, multi-turn conversations, and built-in observability. Next, I want to take a moment to congratulate two Flutter developers, Tommaso, creator of Gemma Vision, and Guido, creator of Vitae Vere, who won first and second place in the Gemma 3N Impact Challenge, which asked developers to use Gemma 3N, a local on-device LLM model, to build products for a better world. This challenge gave developers the option to choose any tech stack. Well, Tommaso and Guido both chose Flutter to build two life-changing tools. Gemma Vision helps those with visual impairments to perceive the world, and Vitae Vere, which assists those with cognitive disabilities to independently complete daily tasks. Thank you. Congratulations, Tommaso and Guido. Now, I've personally been testing out Gemma 4, which has been purpose-built for advanced reasoning and agentic workflows. The way that's been able to chain tool calls together has been really impressive, and it supports vision and audio input right out of the box as well, entirely on device. It's a lightweight and capable model, and it's great because if you have cost limitations, on-device data constraints, or network connectivity limitations, it comes in clutch. But it can get complex if your app is running on multiple different platforms due to the diversity of underlying hardware. So it was no surprise that when I looked into the Gemma Vision and Vitae Vere GitHub repos and saw that they were using the Flutter Gemma plugin from Pub for their Gemma integration. Well, I'm so excited to announce that full LiDAR TLM support is coming soon to the Flutter Gemma package. LiDAR TLM is Google's production-ready, high-performance, open-source inference framework. It abstracts hardware differences away so that you can run on-device models across platforms and ensure peak performance with GPU and NPU acceleration. Not to mention, not to mention, the best part, my favorite part, is that it supports all 6 of Flutter's stable platforms: Android, iOS, web, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Now, when it comes to AI-driven user experiences, I think we can all agree that we are exhausted by the walls of Markdown. Or worse, plain text. Generative UI, also known as GenUI, is a UX paradigm where AI constructs and responds in real time with UI rather than walls of text. Over the last year, Flutter has been pushing Generative UI forward as a project partner defining the emerging A2UI protocol. A2UI is an open source protocol created by Google that defines how an agent and a client can collaborate together on the composition and state of a user interface. We launched the Flutter GenUI SDK late last year. It builds upon A2UI and provides a foundation for building dynamic GenUI experiences in your Flutter apps, like this one. Package downloads are up 500% since the beginning of the year. Another great example of GenUI is the Finish It app by Çağatay Ulusoy, created with Flutter, that not only creates custom lesson plans to help users learn Finnish vocabulary and grammar, but it also composes the right UI on the fly for each one. If you caught the Cloud Next developer keynote last month, you might have seen Flutter DevRel lead Emma Twersky give the app a shout out. Çağatay, just so you know, I would absolutely love to have a version of this app for learning Vietnamese. Okay, so a question that I hear constantly from Flutter developers and the broader community alike is, why does GenUI matter? Well, Li-Tae Cheng and his team at Google DeepMind were pioneers in this area, building one of the very first examples of GenUI with the visual layout experiment. Today, he's here to talk with us about his best practices and why Flutter was the perfect tool for their project. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Li-Tae Cheng.
Thanks, Khanh. Hi, everyone. My name is Li-Tae Cheng. I've led front-end user experiences across various Google products such as Photos, Chromecast, and Android XR. I've had the pleasure of building with Flutter when working at Google Research, Fuchsia, and most recently, Google DeepMind, where I led the Flutter front-end development of Gemini App's visual layout experiment. In a pre-LLM world, users would discover information across web pages by typing in searches, clicking buttons, and opening menus and tabs. Today, now in the LLM world, that same information comes straight at us, often in the form of text. Type text in, get text out, rinse, and repeat. The visual layout experiment sought to explore how we could replace those walls of text with a user experience that's not just usable, but also delightful. When Gemini was first announced, way back in December 2023, our team shared a video showing an early prototype of our hypothesis and interactive visual experience that demonstrated a collaboration between the user and the model that reasoned using interactive UI components, Generative UI or GenUI for short. Many of you in the Flutter community who watched the video noticed the distinctive red debug banner. Yes, we were using Flutter. Our team has chosen to build with Flutter over the years for the same reasons that you do. Beautiful UI, productive developer experience, and multi-platform support, which enables us to share fully functional end-to-end experiences across teams and devices. But we also chose it because its core architecture is quite well suited for GenUI. But we'll talk more about that later. Our experiment, officially named Visual Layout, was intended to help users find things, explore new ideas, and follow their curiosity visually and intuitively by starting from an initial user prompt and then encouraging the user to select, click, and explore information customized and updated on the fly through Generative UI. So instead of those walls of text, users get beautiful, visually rich user experiences. Studies show that users highly prefer sites designed by human experts, but that's closely followed by the results from GenUI. Why? Well, take a look. You can see how GenUI enables users to break free of the constant typing and walls of text. So instead of building static screens, we wanted visual layout to balance a personalized experience, interactivity, consistency, and design guidance. So we provided the Gemini model with a predefined widget catalog. The model can then show information and respond to the user prompt, selection, tap, or click by composing dynamic UIs on the fly using widgets from the catalog and then sending it to our Flutter app. So keep in mind that most of the widgets in the catalog are higher-level templates with business logic already built in. So Gemini focuses on composing them together instead of generating everything from scratch. For example, our GenUI grid is a Flutter stateful widget with pre-baked human-authored logic and UX for consistency and predictability that fit with the rest of the catalog. That means that the AI is solely responsible for picking the grid and then choosing the components to add as children. If you build with ATUI or with Flutter's GenUI package, this architecture should look very familiar. So when it came to partner with the Gemini app team and then test our app with real users, our decision to build with Flutter paid off again because we were able to ship our experiment as part of Gemini app's web and mobile experiences faster than any other solution we had at hand. We embedded our Flutter prototype directly into the Gemini app. So late last year, when Gemini 3 debuted, so did our visual layout experiment in the Gemini app. The visual layout experiment has since been completed. A lot of what we have learned has helped shape many of the GenUI developments that you'll see from teams across Google today. So I'd like to share my top 3 learnings from our visual layout experiment for those of you building your own GenUI experiences. Number 1, building GenUI apps with an opinionated, well-defined framework provides a significant advantage. Unlike more open-ended stacks where there's countless ways to achieve the same result, an opinionated structure enables the AI to narrow down its options and in turn generate more consistent, reliable UIs faster. Number 2, clearly define the responsibilities between the developer and the AI. Implement an AI critic loop to review your generated UIs before presenting the final results to the user. In doing so, this ensures that the error reported by the AI critic is actually actionable by the AI as opposed to a bug to the developer. There are many development frameworks that will help you accomplish both of these goals. Flutter's structured, clear, defined way of building apps is certainly one of them. Third and finally, when it comes to GenUI, you can choose templates, which are higher-level components with structured layouts, or you can construct components from scratch, from lower-level building blocks. Consider your app's needs and goals here. The visual layout team wanted UX and programmatic consistency, along with lower latency, so we chose to use templates at the time. To wrap up, I want to give a special thanks to the Gemini app, Google DeepMind, and Flutter teams for giving me the opportunity to share our experiment with you all today. GenUI, oh, thank you. GenUI was just a theory when we started the visual layout experiment. Today, thanks to the A2UI protocol and the GenUI package, it's a reality that you can start building with right now. My challenge to you, go beyond the walls of text and chatbots. Go build rich, interactive, delightful experiences. Let's make that new standard together. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Lite. Let us continue by discussing the many platforms where you can find Flutter. There are quite a few. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Let's start with mobile. Who's ready for Android 17? Yeah, we sure are. Flutter is proactively integrating the latest security and usability features, from local network protections to the transition to safer dynamic code loading. We are providing a cleaner and intuitive experience. In this latest release, this also marks a foundational leap in how we integrate with the Android operating system through hybrid composition ++. This lets the Android operating system natively handle layer compositing, significantly improving complicated renderings in native Android views. This is available on Vulkan-supported devices targeting Android API 34 or later, and you can try it today in Flutter 3.44 through an opt-in flag before it becomes the default rendering in the future. Embedding those Flutter views in existing apps is now easier than before as well. On Android and iOS, Flutter views embedded in existing native apps can now automatically resize themselves based on their content. Now, previously, Flutter views required that the native parent provided a fixed size, which, of course, is difficult sometimes, like when you're embedding a view into a native scroll view. This behavior can be opted into now on both platforms, which, of course, asks the question, what else have we been up to on iOS? On iOS, we have moved to Swift Package Manager by default for all projects. Yes, indeed. This officially marks the beginning of the end in our support for CocoaPods, but as a result is providing a more reliable and modern development environment. For those integrating Flutter into existing apps, the new Swift package build command will enable you to consume your Flutter modules as native Swift packages. Also on iOS, you can now take Flutter beyond the app by embedding Flutter views within iOS app extensions, such as the Share extension here. This allows users to interact with your app just as they would any other, without leaving their current task or context. Meanwhile, on the web, we've been deepening our platform integrations, ensuring that Flutter feels native through improved system preferences, accessibility, and seamless text editing. We've also streamlined our workflows with a new development proxy and simplified configuration, removing the need for those complex CLI arguments to enable you to build faster and more reliably. We've also improved browser memory management here with a complete overhaul of our WebAssembly render path, introducing lazy path objects and frame arenas to eliminate jank and crashes for a consistently smooth experience. As seen here, our refactoring of lazy path has shown 25 to 40% improvement in our path benchmarks on web to drive that performance. How about desktop? Well, Yes, the desktop experience has reached a new level of maturity this year, driven by our incredible engineering partnership with Canonical, the publisher of Ubuntu. This year, we've reached a significant stage of our experimental windowing APIs. Flutter now supports tooltips and separate dialog windows across platforms, as well as that content-sized view feature I mentioned earlier. You can also find that on desktop, all freeing you from the single window constraint to create complex, multi-window apps that feel native on Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. Yes. Yes. Of course, this progress is fueled by Canonical's dedication, ensuring that Flutter delivers on every desktop. Is that all? No, of course. The reach of Flutter extends far beyond mobile and web and desktop. Toyota is now using Flutter to power the infotainment system in the 2026 RAV4. Yes. Yes. Now, we will see this firsthand in a moment, so I will ask that you fasten your seatbelts in the meantime. LG as well has been hard at work in this area, continuing to invest in building their WebOS embedder. LG is actually on the verge of launching the WebOS SDK to help developers easily build Flutter apps that target WebOS devices, empowering Flutter for the big screen and beyond. Yes. The WebOS SDK will include plugin support for Firebase, video players, gamepads, and more, as well as all the Flutter features that you know and love, like stateful hot reload and state management, using the familiar patterns that RiverPod offers. So keep an eye out, because this exciting release is just a few weeks away. All right, I think we've made it through all the platforms. But of course, to power all of these native-first experiences, we need a fast and deterministic engine. Let's talk about it. This year, our Impeller engine has been significantly refined, featuring improved Vulkan support and optimized memory management to ensure that high performance. For shader development, we've prioritized ease of use. You can now access uniforms directly by name, and improved compilation feedback makes debugging easier and more intuitive. We've also enhanced visual fidelity, utilizing signed distance functions, as you can see playing out here, to ensure high-quality anti-aliased rendering for even the most complex shapes. All of these updates ensure that Flutter remains the premier canvas for even your most demanding visual projects. All right, let's get on over to my neck of the woods. Moving up from the engine, let's get to the framework itself. There is so much that we have done in the framework this year, such as our investments in accessibility, deepening our platform integrations, and refining our accessibility toolset. But of course, the biggest effort this year in the framework has been decoupling of Flutter's core design libraries. Over this past year, we initiated the process of moving the Material and Cupertino libraries out of the core Flutter SDK and transitioning them into their own standalone packages, Material UI and Cupertino UI. As Flutter has matured over the years, there are really three architectural pain points that we've heard about when it comes to these design libraries. First, coupling these libraries to the core framework meant that design shifts, such as the move from Material 2 to 3, forced developers to absorb breaking changes, meaning just to pick up bug fixes from the framework or new operating system support, they would have to refactor their UI. By moving to standalone packages, you gain more control over your app's maintenance lifecycle, enabling you to update your framework version more often while keeping your UI pinned to a stable version. Second, tying libraries to the quarterly stable release cycle meant that new features might take months to arrive to users. Standalone packages can iterate and release on a faster and independent cadence. This is why we took a strategic pause on implementing new design language features like Material 3 Expressive and iOS 26's Liquid Glass, so that they could land in an architecture that supports rapid and continuous delivery. And lastly, at times, developers have told us that implementing their own custom UIs can feel like fighting the framework to undo these strong opinions of these design libraries. To solve for this, a major pillar of the Decoupling project has been strengthening the core. We have been meticulously refactoring style-neutral logic out of Material and Cupertino to provide a robust library of unopinionated widget primitives. This work will continue to provide a more design-agnostic foundation for anyone building a custom UI. After all, there are many more beautiful, bespoke design systems beyond Material and Cupertino. Perhaps you recognize some of those featured here, along with those who have pioneered Liquid Glass and Material 3 Expressive features. We are looking forward to working with you as we update Material and Cupertino in their new packages. Decoupling represents a fundamental re-architecture of Flutter. It's a deliberate shift to make the core framework lighter and stronger, while giving you the flexibility to build the next generation of multi-platform user experiences on your own terms. And it's happening right now. As of our latest stable release, Flutter 3.44, we are ready to decouple and enter into this new chapter. Expect to see the original design libraries deprecated in the following release, along with migration support through, of course, Dart Fix. Now, speaking of custom design systems, I did say we would have a look at what Toyota's been up to. So let's see what's in store in the new Toyota RAV4 infotainment system built with Flutter.
You know, we want this to be as intuitive as possible, and it should just honestly feel like your smartphone.
New software, new capabilities.
They know a thing or two about speed because this thing absolutely flies.
The role of our infotainment system is huge. It's what the customer sees when they first get in. The dash, the displays all light up and it welcomes you. So we wanted to create this digital experience where we can introduce technology globally. Where we started to run into challenges was bespoke platforms and suppliers that had their own way of building user experiences.
We might spec something and then we wouldn't see it for a year or two. And when it came back, often there's not enough time to make changes. So a lot of compromises had to be made.
The biggest catalyst was for us to have that touch point or control for the customer user experience. Ultimately, it was about having our hands on the steering wheel. We were all doing technology studies to try to figure out what's the best possible solution for the next generation of infotainment. Flutter kind of came in almost as like a crazy idea, like, well, what if we try that? What really set Flutter apart is that kind of qualitative experience that everyone had, just like touching it. And it really did feel more like a smartphone than like a kiosk or something like that.
We evaluated based off of costs. There are a lot of platforms that are not open source and they charge per seat. We did a lot of initial sort of proof of concepts using Raspberry Pi and some screens that we could go get from the stores.
It was really important to us to build our team in a way that puts designers and developers together. That way, when there's things we realize after testing that we need to change, we can sit down together and solve the problem.
Dart is pretty familiar. It was very easy to jump in and learn Dart.
The custom embedder is something, actually one of the very first pieces of technology we built in the initial Flutter prototype. We can easily create plugins to kind of support those automotive functions that need to directly be accessed by the Flutter layers.
We want to get from design to production as fast as possible. So when we make updates in our design tool, we can see those realized as fast as possible in code and then on the actual head units themselves.
Overall, our approach with Flutter has really been to leverage the developer tools as much as possible because so many of those tools are already designed with a great development workflow in mind. even if the target happens to be a vehicle instead of a phone. There's a lot of similarities, surprisingly. The pub dev ecosystem has been a huge support for us. The most obvious one we use is Provider. Probably couldn't have built our app without relying on that for almost everything.
Having Flutter as part of our design workflow now has really made us on equal footing with how fast both roles can go, both with design and development. There's no longer a big handoff moment.
Flutter enabled us to have user experience be agnostic to hardware.
From the feedback being ingested, it is possible for us to put that into code and have it working within the code base within a single day.
We are also deploying this new platform on Rev throughout the world. We have teams in Europe and Australia and India and Japan, all building on the same platform.
The RAV4, that was our first vehicle that we launched the system on. And then in the fall, the 2027 Highlander BEV. We're very excited to get this out on a lot of vehicles. Toyota is the first company that come out and said we're using Flutter in automotive specifically. I very strongly don't think we'll be the last.
Well, that really adds a new layer to the phrase, Flutter is going places, right? Having grown up in a family that only ever had Toyotas in the driveway, I can't even begin to express how excited and proud I am to see Flutter running in the 2026 RAV4. Thank you to the Toyota team for hosting us. Chris, I saw you walk in here at some point. I had so much fun visiting the Toyota North America HQ and test track in Plano, Texas to interview the Toyota team for that video. I mean, can you tell?
As we look towards the rest of 2026 and beyond, our vision for Flutter is focused on creating an even more scalable ecosystem. The decoupling of the material and Cupertino design systems is just one in several pillars of our move towards a more open and sustainable operating model. We're not only accelerating design development, but also looking to improve the extensibility of the Flutter engine and the command line tools in order to enable more platforms, something that we're calling pluggable platforms. And Material and Cupertino aren't the only ones moving to their own packages. Over the years, various utilities and classes in the framework have proven vital to the ecosystem, but come with the cost of depending on the entire framework itself. So soon, these foundational classes, like Listenable, will be moving out to pure Dart packages for the entire ecosystem to benefit from. Yeah. We are also so excited to announce today an expanded partnership with Canonical, who will now serve as the lead maintainer and strategic steward for Flutter Desktop. Yes. Woo! With their deep technical expertise, Canonical will lead the Flutter Desktop roadmap and oversee the maintenance of our Linux, macOS, and Windows embedders. Which, of course, this collaboration only represents the first step in a broader ecosystem expansion. Moving forward, we are actively expanding our governance with more partners to bring Flutter's high-performance, multi-platform experience to even more environments and industries. To inquire about partnering with the Flutter team, contact partners at flutter.dev.
And speaking of our community, Flutter would not be where it is today without our passionate, driven, and vocal community of developers. We've been so excited to see the community's excitement and feedback on all the new features and announcements. So much of the work that has made Flutter great has been driven by feedback from you. So please keep it coming. If there's a new feature that you love, drop us a comment. If there's a feature that's not quite working the way that you want it to, send us a reply. And if you have a feature that you want to see that doesn't exist yet, please file an issue with a feature request. We want to hear about it. In fact, we have a developer survey going out soon, so please let us know there as well. In addition to that, our team is hitting the road this year and attending a ton of conferences and events across the globe. We're constantly adding new events to the list, so if you're close by, please come on out and see us and show us what you're building.
And of course, if you can't join us here in person, then come hang out with us online. We have more Google I/O deep dives dropping on the Flutter Dev YouTube channel in the coming days. Now, of course, before we sign off, though, think back on the stories that we shared today. Individually, these features are impressive, but collectively, they deliver on Flutter and Dart's promise of a robust ecosystem that empowers developers to productively build and ship incredible user experiences. From the infotainment systems in the cars we drive, to the tools that manage our businesses, to the apps in our daily lives, Flutter is everywhere, every day.
And look at who's building with and contributing to this incredible ecosystem. It's industry leaders like LG and Toyota. It's Canonical leading the charge on desktop, and so many more that we didn't have time to talk about today. But most importantly, it's every one of you, the over 1.5 million developers pushing code, filing issues, and shipping the experiences that define our daily lives. And that's why Flutter is built by everyone, for everyone.
It's been an exciting year in the Flutter and Dart world. I hope you are all looking forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Happy
Google I/O.